Hello, General Biology. Today is our first video for climate change, and we are going to start with radiation, heat, and our atmospheres and how they work. We're going to first talk about radiation. This is a heat lamp, and you may be familiar with heat lamps being used to keep food warm. The way they work is they take radiant energy or light and they shine it on the food, and every time light hits something, some of it bounces off as light or color, which is why we can see the pizza, and some of it is converted to heat. And heat lamps convert a lot of that light into heat, and so the pizza stays warm. That happens every time light hits anything, and it turns out that the surface that it hits responds differently. White surfaces reflect a lot of light and absorb little heat, and dark surfaces absorb a lot of heat and reflect a little bit of light. So if you're trying to stay cool in the summer, wearing light clothes is going to be more helpful because more of the radiation is going to bounce away as light and less of it is going to stay in your clothes as heat. So that's what happens with light. It strikes something and it splits. Some of it bounces off and some of it stays as heat. Well, our atmosphere interacts with that radiation or the light from the sun, and atmospheres can, depending on the type of atmosphere, can protect the planet. Earth has a great atmosphere at protecting the planet because our temperatures range from negative 18 degrees Celsius to 15 degrees Celsius, which is a great, but other planets have terrible ranges that can really be bad for life. And that all has to do with the atmosphere. Our atmosphere protects us during the day, preventing us from boiling, and it protects us during the night, preventing us from freezing. And it does that because it has greenhouse gases. Carbon dioxide is one of our big greenhouse gases, and methane is one of our big greenhouse gases. And the way this works is we have radiant energy or light from the sun striking the earth, and when it strikes the earth, some of it is converted to heat, and some of it leaves. And you can see it bouncing out as light, and that's why you can see the earth from space. But what happens to the radiation that is converted to heat? Well, some of that heat would leave the earth, but some of it hits the greenhouse gases and comes back down, and it keeps the earth warm. This is just like a blanket. Blankets work. Blankets don't have any heat themselves. You get under the blanket, your body releases heat, and the blanket traps it and then shines it, but then reflects it back down to you. So you get to, that heat gets trapped and you get to feel warm. That's the same thing that happens to the earth. The light hits the earth, warms it up, and then the heat would leave the earth, but the greenhouse gases like carbon dioxide and methane keep the heat in, and they keep the surface of the earth warm for us at night so that we don't freeze to death. It's a really important thing. So let's review. Nope, not that. This. When radiant energy strikes matter, some reflects as colored light and some is absorbed by that matter as heat, and that increases the temperature. White surfaces reflect more light and absorb less heat, and dark surfaces absorb more heat and reflect less light. Our atmosphere protects us. During the day, it shields us from harmful radiation so we don't boil to death, and during the night, our atmosphere traps in heat so we don't freeze to death, and our atmosphere can do this because it has greenhouse gases. The greenhouse gases in our atmosphere are carbon dioxide and methane, and they allow some energy to come through, radiant energy. That energy hits the earth, turns a little bit into the heat, and then bounces away. And the heat would leave the earth, but some of it is absorbed by greenhouse gases. That heat absorbed by the greenhouse gases goes back to the earth, warming it up like a blanket, and that keeps Earth at an excellent temperature for life. So thank you, greenhouse gases. Thank you, radiation. Thank you, heat. You make this a place that we can keep living. I hope this helps. Struggle well.